Welcome back to Zucchini's Ridge Homestead. I'm Brian, and this morning we're going to go out and take a look at the garage project and see where we're coming on that. It's actually been so long since I posted a video on it, I had to go back and watch the video to see where we were at when we left off last time. So let's go take a look. Hello, and welcome to our channel. We're glad you're here. Well, where we left off in the last video was the completion of this loft up here. And as you can see, we've started packing some stuff up there to get it out of the way. We've decided to put miscellaneous items on this side and Paula's craft items over here and raw materials like lumber, and then the loft behind me is still going to be hay and straw, and also any animal related items like cages and bowls and things like that. So that's where we're at on the lofts. We did mention we were going to add a wall, which we did. As you can see, half of the loft has got a wall built under it. That was just a simple 2x4 16 on center stud framing. We put OSB on this side and some drywall on the other side. Funny story, if you remember, when I was putting this post in, I had to go buy a 3/8 concrete bit to put the anchors in the floor. When we did this wall, I had to go buy another one because I couldn't find the one I had just bought. So I've got plenty of 3/8 bits once this garage is organized. Now what we've decided to do is, obviously this center area is going to be the automotive tractor working on section. So this toolbox is probably going to stay where it's at. It's going to get loaded with the items you use but not often, like impacts and bigger tools, some specialty tools, electrical testing and so forth. So that's going to be the box you go to for your tools you're going to need once in a while but not on an everyday job. This black card over here is going to be the go-to toolbox that has your sockets and wrenches and screwdrivers and pliers, and basically what you're going to need to do most jobs. Probably 90% of your tools will be in that box. So once that box is all organized, it'll stay over here somewhere, and when you go to do a job, you can just grab it and roll it to your whatever you're working on, even outside if we need to, and you'll have most of the tools you need right there in that box. We moved this bench here over against the wall. This red and white bench used to sit in this gap between the man door and the garage door where the wood burner and our oil tank is sitting at the moment. So we moved that over here. It's a little more out of the way. We can keep our jack stands and oil change things and funnels and stuff like that in there. So that's well in need of being organized, but at least it's in position. We put a shelf in over here. Right now this shelf is just for parts. Most of the items up there right now go on the Golden Jubilee tractor. So we'll get that drug in here one of these days and get all those parts on it before we put it up for sale. We've added a air hose reel, which is really handy. We've moved this bench over here. This is a kind of a higher bench. It was my former father-in-law's, and he was pretty tall and he had bad legs, so he didn't like to bend over much. So he built this bench tall so it was easier for him to work on. And we've brought that over here. We've got some salt stored underneath it right now, which we'll move later. Probably going to keep the battery charger and like the tool cart and so forth, because that black tool cart will actually fit under this bench. So we'll use it to store underneath. Probably add a bench vise or something to it, and that'll just be a working table when we're out here working on cars or whatever. We will probably add a fluorescent light above it, and also a fluorescent light above this bench over here. Still keep our feed over here in this container. And one thing we've done, which is just a simple thing, is start putting our empty feed bags inside of another feed bag. Normally this would be a big pile of feed bags over here in the corner, but by just taking an extra 5 seconds to fold them up and stick them inside another feed bag, it keeps them well organized and they take up way less space. Not sure what the eventual outcome of this corner is going to be, but right now it's just feed and some of the animal stuff. Last time we saw this stall, it was full of toolboxes and miscellaneous stuff. That has all been moved out into the regular part of the garage, and this is now used for the horses when it gets really cold out at night. They've got a bunk of hay back there, got their water over here with the heater in it, And it's enough room for all 3 horses in here. And we only bring them in at night when it's really, really cold out. They're out almost all the time. We did bring the 2 baby peacocks in that were left from the 4 that we had bought earlier this year. We did lose 2, but these 2 have survived, and we were afraid it was too cold out there in that metal building for them. So we brought them in here. They haven't quite socialized with the other peacocks yet, but they're pretty good buddies and do stay together. So they're in here where they're safer and warmer. Since we've moved everything away from this wall, all the lumber and stuff that was piled against it, it gives us room to put the snowplow there for storage to keep it out of the way. Haven't done a lot in this corner yet, but it's coming. The other stall, we keep got hay in the back, couple bales of straw here in the front for use for the horses. We can access this stall through this opening here to bring fresh hay and straw in for the horses. And right now, this one's storage. Some of the toolboxes and so forth that were on the other side are over here now. That's my TIG welder. The MIG welder's back here in the corner. This stuff is just basically moved over here out of the way right now so we can work underneath the loft on the other side. With this center bay cleared out, which it definitely wasn't before, we have enough room to store the New Holland in here, and the yellow item on the other side over here is the 4-wheeler. And if we need to work on a vehicle, we can just back these 2 out, and we can even fit my dually in here to work on it if we need to with the door closed. That little heater has been amazing. I'll post the video in the corner of where I repaired that heater. I think we paid $40 for that thing, and it has heated this garage phenomenally this year for working out here. I mean, you can be down to just a sweatshirt with your coat off in no time, even when it's bitter, bitter cold out. So it does an excellent job keeping this place warm. And since it is a multi-fuel, we use the off-road diesel in it that we use for the tractor. And it does a really nice job. It doesn't stink or anything, but boy, it does keep it nice in here. And speaking of off-road diesel, we do have an 125-gallon tank. I did get 80 gallons in that the other day, and that was all the tractor could do to get that out of the back of the truck with 80 gallons in it. So we're going to look into some options for a larger tank so we can have fuel delivered rather than having to go pick it up ourselves. Project we're on right now is underneath the loft here. We've got it somewhat cleaned out. I mean, there's still a bunch of junk in here, but I mean, it's coming along. This front section is going to be where Paula works on her furniture. As you can see, she's got a piece over there to start working on once we get this cleared out. So she'll have this front area up here. We already have the miter saw and the table saw and the band saw are against the wall back there. Where they're at now is where this big bench used to be. Now this bench is like 2 foot wide or so, and it's maybe even 3 foot wide. It's awkward to work on when it's against the wall. So we've decided to put it here in the center so you can access both sides of it and get a little more use out of it. And that's going to be kind of the dividing line between the 2 halves. This section over here is going to be the metal shop area. You can see we've still got the press sitting back here. I'm going to put our mini mill over here. The welders will park back here somewhere. We do have a big sink to put in this section right here. That's a 3/4 water line coming in from outside where the frost free is at, so we can get some water back here. This big T-slot table will just kind of float out in the middle. That's a good bench to work on for welding and so forth. We do need to run electric from our breaker box. We're going to bring it around here, add an outlet on this column. Try not to blind you with the window. Down here in the corner, we're going to add an outlet for the horse water trough, since we do have to heat that in the winter. Right now, the trough sits right outside here, and our frost free is over here around the corner. So what we're going to do is add that outlet down here, cut a hole in the garage to where we can access the cord, and we can just plug the heater directly into an outlet, versus right now the heater is coming out here and there's an extension cord running through the yard over to where we plug the pull in at, which is definitely not ideal. It does tend to mess the end of the extension cord up because it draws so much amperage. So we want to bring it over here so we can just plug it in directly. We will also put an outlet here next to the press and where the mini mill is going to be. Run electric through and around the other side of this wall, and we'll run some outlets down along top of that red and white bench and also down the wall over top of the other bench. These lights here we picked up used. They're going to go up in this section to light both the metal shop area and Paula's wood shop area. And I think that pretty much updates where we're at. I believe before we said we were going to put the wood burner here. We've changed our mind and decided to put it over here in this corner. It's a little more out of the way, and we can just vent it straight out through the wall and up instead of having to go all the way up through the roof. Don't have to cut a hole in the roof that way, just into the wall. So that's I think going to be a little better solution than what we had planned on before. As we keep doing this stuff, things keep changing as we decide that something, one thing's going to work better than another. We are still going to, probably at this post here, we're going to build a wall and take this center wall out to make the stall that much larger, and we're going to enclose this area back here as a tack room and some other enclosed storage. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we have got actual lighting added. We did that last night before we cleaned out that underneath section. We've got 3 industrial fixtures up. They're just basically a 2 foot by 4 foot 4 lamp T5 fixture. This one's hanging on a 2 by 4. The other 2 we actually attached underneath the garage door track. And if you can see, we've got a cover over top of the lights. Since the peacocks roost in here, we didn't want them trying to stand on the lights or poop on the lights. So we bought some of that, like a shower wall. It's like a fiberglass textured material, and cut it into 3 pieces and attached it to the bolts and let it hang over top of the light to keep the peacocks, speaking of peacocks, there's one right now, keep them from walking on the lights or pooping on the lights. So that was just our little solution for keeping the lights clean. So there's where we're at with the garage project right now. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. Please subscribe. We'd appreciate a thumbs up. And thanks for watching. You have a wonderful day.